Eric, how are you?
I'm all right, man. Doing good, doing good. How's your day been?
Oh, it's been a day. That's been my most of my COVID-19 response these
Okay.
days. So
Yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, but thank you for taking the time out of your day to join me today and talk about your brand. And
Yeah, thanks for having me, brother.
yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Like I said, I've been following your brand on Instagram for a while, and
Mm,
definitely in the last couple of months. I don't know what it is, if it's COVID and have more time to explore and try out new brands and stuff, or
mm.
what it is. But you all are, what you're doing at Black Star is just catching on, it seems.
Thanks, man. You're working hard, working real hard. Just trying to get the brand out there, post some nice pics on Instagram, and and then make sure that the product is good. You know. So. Hmm.
Yes, what I wanted to do, this is a casual conversation,
Yeah.
and what I like to do is get people to talk about their brands and their businesses because always the question is always what's new, and
Hmm.
yet people kind of look to the same brands sometimes to see what's new, and sometimes the answer to that question is what haven't you tried yet? So
Right.
I've been
Hmm.
trying to introduce people to some brands and some people that they might not be that aware of. So, like I said, Black Star was one of those companies that are really catching on this year, and I wanted to extend my platform, um, extend
Hmm.
my platform to you, so that
Hmm.
you could tell your story and get your brand's message out there to a crowd that will watch live and those who watch in playback.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like I said, I appreciate it. I appreciate any kind of help in anybody's platform that let me be on there.
So let's
Hmm.
start off at the beginning with your story. Um,
Hmm.
just kind of tell me, before you got into cigars or the cigar business, what were you doing? What was your interest? What's your background?
Currently, I am a firefighter by trade. I'm in Chicago for those that don't know, so I'm a Chicago firefighter. So yeah, I've been a firefighter for 6.5 years, I think it is now.
Hmm.
So that's when I actually started smoking and sitting around in the firehouse and sitting around in there smoking. And, I really enjoyed smoking cigars there, So um, I started off like smoking some of the infused stuff, like a black cherry cigar. And then I quickly graduated because after I smoked that, I went and started smoking Dirty Rats from Drew Estates, and it changed my palate really fast. Because when I went back to buy black cherries and I tried to smoke it, it tasted terrible. So I never went back to an infused cigar after that. And then I would smoke a bunch of different blends. I would always smoke something different, and that's how I developed the palate so fast. Because I haven't been smoking as long as a lot of people. Some people have been smoking 20 plus years. I've only been smoking like I said, around six or so. And it really, me smoking a lot of different stuff all the time, it really accelerated my palate to the point I could tell good tobacco from not so good tobacco.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
are you still experimenting, so smoking different brands to kind of continue to develop your palate, or have you kind of settled in on a certain brand?
No, I never settle. I mean, I have my favorite brands that I like to smoke, but I'm always smoking something different. Because I have a really extensive cigar collection here, and like pretty much like I bought so many of them, I could smoke 3 cigars a day for 2 weeks and not smoke the same brand. So I make sure I practice on smoking a bunch of different stuff so I can see what's out there, what different things taste like. Because I always tell people if you're not evolving, and it doesn't matter if it's cigars or anything, if you're not evolving in life, then you're not alive. So you got to continue to learn. You got to keep on evolving. You got to keep on growing. So that's what I do. I keep on smoking a lot of different stuff, good and bad. You know.
What's the last good cigar you smoked?
I just before I lit up this my Black Star Line San Andreas, I was smoking the hot cakes from HBC.
Oh
So,
wow.
which just so happens to be from Aganorsa as well. But it was a very good smoke. I really enjoyed that smoke. So,
So now, when you decided that you wanted to start your own brand, I mean, where did you get started in the process? What was the first thing you did to kind of make that move?
well, the first thing I did was contact my childhood friend Derek, And because I knew I wasn't going to be able to start the company by myself. So I contacted him because he kind of got me smoking too. So I contacted him and pitched the idea to him, and he was like, man, let's roll with it. Sounds good. So he and I started networking a lot at Drew Estate events. So in particular, we would go to Drew Estate events when JD was going to be there. So we got his attention, let him know what we were going to do. And he initially gave us his email. Didn't get any response from that. So we called him at another event here in Chicago. So he remembered us and he was like, man, let me give you my phone number. So then he's the one that pointed us to El Tito de Bronze down in Miami. So we chased Sandy for at least a year or so, because what it was is, El Tito de Bronze is a small factory. So, but her mother was sick, so she wasn't really in the factory as much as she normally would be. So the gatekeeper, Kitty, was there, and she kept telling us, like, yeah, call back next week. She's not here. Kept putting us off. So I thought about it, and I said, hey, let me send her some flowers. Just let her know we're thinking about her, wishing her mother well, wishing the family well. Still didn't hear anything. So it was like, 4 or 5 months after that. You know how people say, man, something told me. So me and Derek were talking one day, and something told me, call her right now. So we called down there. Turned out Kitty left El Tito de Bronze. So Giselle, Sandy's daughter, answered the phone. And so we asked for Sandy, and she was like, yeah, she's right here. Handed the phone right over to her. So Sandy got on the phone. We told her who we were, and she said, you were those nice guys that sent the flowers to me a few months ago, right? And we were like, yeah. And she said, I'm going to do this blend for y'all. So that's where our first two blends, the stick is called El Milagro. That means the miracle. So that's where our first two sticks came from. Some Mexican San Andreas wrapper is the full body one. Then we had the sun-grown Habano is a medium full. So we were trying to catch two different type of smokers, and then that type of smoker that can go from one range of strength and body to another and not mind it. So that was our original thought on bringing those two sticks out. So yeah, it was tough getting in touch with her, but I tell everybody, it doesn't matter what you're doing, as long as you're persistent about it, you'll get it. If you really want it, you'll get it. So.
Yeah, and I think that's important because you knew from speaking to Jonathan Drew, a good manufacturing partner to help you bring your cigar to life. Mm-hmm. And so you knew that rather than give up and kind of find somebody else, that was the person that was meant for you to work with you. So I think that was, like I said, I think that was good. Because so many people would have just given up or just found somebody else, and you would have been on a completely different trajectory right now. Yeah.
Like you said, it was well worth the wait. El Tito is a great factory, well known. La Polina comes out of there, Warped, Herrera Steli Miami. It's a lot of well known factories. I mean, not factories, but companies have come out of there repeatedly. And they got great products. So that's why we wanted to, go with a factory that has a good reputation behind them. Because, a lot of people think that I'm like rolling cigars in my basement or something. That's not the case. Like, I actually have two very good factories behind me. So,
Yeah. Now, to backtrack a little bit, you talk about Jonathan Drew, who is within himself a character, but he doesn't probably get enough credit for being as business savvy and aware of the tobacco and everything else that goes into building up Drew Estate. So what are some of the things that he kind of taught you about the business that kind of helped you as you were trying to get your start in the cigar business?
Well, one of the main things he really told us was the persistence aspect of it. Because one of the times I talked to him, I told him, I was like, hey, not really getting any movement, man. Like, people are telling us no, different factories. And the thing he said to me, he was like, so what you gonna do? He was like, you gonna give up? Or you gonna keep going? And I was like, I'm gonna keep going. I'm not gonna stop. He, he's a very busy guy, and he'll respond to your text message. Like, I'll text him, and I may get a response 3 weeks later. But, and at first, I was taking it personal because I told him, I was like, "Man, I'm texting you, you're not responding." He's like, "No, just keep texting me. It's fine." I was like, "Bro, I feel like I'm bothering you." And he's like, "No, you're not bothering me. Keep texting me." And then when I sat and smoked with Willie Herrera, that topic came up, and he was like, "Hey, bro," he was like, "I work with him, and I'll text him, and he won't respond for a month." So he was like, he was like, "Trust me, it's nothing personal. It's just him." So, but yeah, that's the main thing he impressed on us, is to make sure that we kept going and to not give up. And that's, like I said, that's one of the main reasons why we're here. Because we were getting frustrated, and because we were steady trying to contact people, and we weren't getting any kind of any love at all. So. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think, you say that about Jonathan Drew, about keep going, don't give up. I remember for me, when I first got into the media side in front of the cameras, he was my first live interview, like sitting there in person. Mm-hmm. And I remember he put me, he made it a workout. So he didn't let up the whole time. And every time I see him now, he's like, "Oh, remember that first time you interviewed me?" And what happened? I was like, "Yeah, I remember." So like you said, it's the theme from Jonathan Drew is usually, don't give up. You're going to encounter some obstacles. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it at the end. That experience of and that's something that you carry with you, obviously, throughout the business.
Yeah. Now he does reach out from time to time, and he'll just let me know he's proud of me, because he's hearing things about me as well. And for, our reputation to get up, that high, because I consider him, high as far as in the cigar industry, for us to get out there and, really make some kind of noise out there, and it's getting up to Jonathan Drew, he just wanted to let us know that he's proud of us, and keep pushing. So.
Now, you also, like you said, work with Aganorsa. So tell us about how you got in touch with Aganorsa.
Okay.
And what's it like working with them?
So I was in between Aganorsa and another factory. I was Gabby Caffey did my original boxes for El Milagro. So Gabby was talking to us about doing a blend with him, and I just wasn't sure. So I got acquainted with Sean Williams at a few events in different states. So it turns out he came to Chicago to do an event here. So I made it a point to go down there and talk to him. So when I talked to him, we talked for like an hour and a half. I just stood by his table and just talked to him the whole time, just soaking up information. So he asked me, what do I want to do with Black Star Line? So I said, I want to come out with another stick. I was like, I love El Tito de Bronze, but they're a little pricey, because you're buying tobacco from Miami as opposed to going to Dominican Republic or Nicaragua or Honduras or whatever. So he said, what do you want to do? So he started naming off a bunch of factories. He's like, you want to work with Placencia? You want to work with Aganorsa? He named a bunch of them. So I thought about it. And I was like, I'm a fan of Warped. So I was like, let me follow Kyle's steps. So I was like, I'd like to work with Aganorsa. So he's like, okay, cool. He was like, give me like a day, and I'll reach out to you. So he actually reached out to me the next day and said, hey, I talked to Terrence Riley personally for you, and he's waiting for you to call him. So when I called Terrence, he welcomed us with open arms, and he wanted to know what type of blend I was looking for. So I gave him the wrapper binder filler that I gave him two different blends, two different wrapper binder fillers, and they sent the samples to me. So one of them was Warwich, and the other one, is just a defunct brand, a blend. So me and my buddy Chris, he's actually on the live right now too, listening. We sat here. I always sit and smoke in my man cave. This is my garage. I got it all finished and everything. So we smoked Warwich first. And I was just blown away by the stick from Jump Street. Like, it was nothing I needed to change about it. I didn't have to tell him to add more ligero or change a leaf here and there to make it how I wanted it. Warwich came out fantastic. From the way it is now on the market is the way it was from inception. The second blend wasn't that good. I was like, it was okay, but I was like, I'd have to play around with it, see what I could change to make it work. But it was nothing I would feel comfortable putting out and confidently saying it's a good blend. So that's how we got in touch with Aganorsa. Working with Aganorsa has been fantastic. Like I said, the stick is great. It's easy for me to get place orders with Terrence, and get more sticks. So. It's been a fantastic experience.
When you're looking at your company and all your brands, and you're trying to expand what, where you want to take the next blend or the next cigar, like what's your aim? Like, are you looking for a certain flavor profile, a certain strength? Like, what are you looking for?
Flavor and strength is what we look for. I I probably would say more so flavor, because a lot of people that smoke my current cigars, that's a lot what they talk about is how flavorful they are and all the notes that they can get out of each one of the cigars. So yeah, that's one of the main things I look for. I'm a full body smoker and I like strong cigars, but I also realize that everybody doesn't want to be punched in their face every time
Right.
they they smoke a cigar. So, but that goes back to my original formula with El Milagro. Like I said, I wanted to make different cigars for people, different types of smokers, and that way I can catch some of everybody. I even have infused cigars. I don't smoke them, but I have people that love my infused cigars. They'll buy them 20, 30 at a time. So, and the way that came around was people will come to my events and they were either newer smokers or they just like milder stuff, and I didn't really have anything that was technically mild. So I kept getting asked about infused cigars, so I started infusing them here at the house myself, and it turned out great. Like my vanilla bourbon, it sells like crazy. So,
What's your experience been as I guess, a more boutique brand cigar owner? Because I know you have a completely different experience than one of the big four companies, cigar companies out there. So what's your experience been, like I said, building this brand, but working on like a smaller scale, I guess?
I mean, I'm constantly working on the brand. Whether it's taking pictures, posting pictures, talking to people. I mean, it's a lot of legwork because it's only 5 of us, including myself, that works with Black Star Line.
Mm-hmm.
So since we're so small, it's a lot of work, just really, really talking to people. I mean, I'll be like, say for instance, I'll call AT&T to ask them about my cell phone bill, and then I'll strike up a conversation with the customer service guy about if he smokes cigars or not. Because I'm trying to say, I'm trying to sell to everybody.
Yeah.
I caught it was some cable guys that were sitting in their truck across the street from my house. They were doing something at somebody else's house. And I approached them like, hey, I know this will sound weird, but do you all smoke cigars? And they were like, nah, but we know people. All right, well, yeah, here's my business card. If you don't mind, can you pass it out to your people that smoke? So yeah, we're constantly branding. Not only like social media, but we're branding like the shirts, different swag, glasses, flasks, anything to get that logo and to get that name out there, to get people looking at it and get people talking about us and wondering, hey, what is Black Star Line? And then they look at the Instagram and they see all the pictures, and they a lot of people are impressed. Like for instance, James Brown from Black Label Trading Company started following us,
Mm-hmm.
and then he sent me a message on the in the DM on Instagram, and he said, hey man, I was looking at your page, and he was like, dude, y'all doing a really good job, like branding, and the pictures are nice. And he was like, man, I'm really impressed. So coming from James, that was, that's definitely a compliment, because he's well known and very, very popular. So
When it comes, like, what do you attribute your success this year to? Because like I said, you had like this nice build up, but especially I would say in the last couple months, especially all I've seen to hear and see on Facebook and Instagram is Black Star.
yeah,
So I'm wondering, like, what do you kind of attribute that success to?
Warwick, yeah, Warwick, it really took over. El Milagro, they're great sticks. But when it was something about when Warwick came, it made everything take off, you know. And I mean, COVID could play a part in it because, a lot of people are sitting at home and they're sitting at home smoking and ordering online and things like that. But it's something about that was just magical about that Warwick, man. When that one came, and then more people got acclimated with the El Milagro sticks too, and they were like, man, not only is Warwick good, but all three of them are good. You know, so that I honestly, I would have to say me working with Aganorsa and Woolwich coming out really put us over the top.
Where did the name for Warwich come from? Because it's such like a unique name too. I think people, you know, will want to be able to say that they smoke Warwich as opposed to
Yeah,
something that just had a bland kind of normal name.
yeah,
So where
yeah,
did that name come from? Because that was good branding on your part as well.
yeah. Thanks. Woolwich is a movie. So it's a movie that was filmed in the Congo, and it's about a young lady that has spiritual powers to be able to see her ancestors. So the local army kidnapped her, and they were you know they kept her with her because they knew she had some kind of spiritual power. So anytime the army was getting ready to get attacked, her ancestors would show up and say, "Hey, like it's coming. Y'all need to either strategize to win the war or run." So she would warn the army, warn the general of the army, and that's how they would either win or they would run away from whatever was potentially going to happen. So I liked the movie a lot, and I was like, Woolwich would that'd be a hot name for a cigar. So, hmm
And I know like a couple months ago we did this story on you, or we included you in a story for Cigars and Leisure
yeah,
on
I
like
appreciate
black-owned
that.
cigar businesses. So I know that with everything that's gone on this year in particular, all of a sudden a lot of people kind of turned on to this idea of black businesses and black-owned businesses. So have you seen an increase in interest in your business just because you are black, or has it just kind of been normal?
Um, I mean, yes and no. Um, I don't think it's necessarily because I'm black. A part of that does play in there. I think it's because of the quality of the product. To at the end of the day, because a lot of people, black, white, Hispanic, that smoke my cigars, man, and they could care less if I was green. They were really, they trying to get the tobacco, and they want something that they're going to be enjoy for an hour and a half or 2 hours, depending on how fast you smoke. But ultimately, I think it's the quality of tobacco and the factories that I came out of, because I'm never secretive about whatever factory I come out of, because for one, I'm so small. The fact that I'm associated with LT de Bronze and Aganorsa Leaf, that really propels us, because a lot of people wonder, how did a little guy firefighter from Chicago like me get associated with two titans like that?
Mm-hmm.
So it's yeah. So I would say honestly, it's the sticks. So,
And exactly what somebody just said, the quality and the people behind the brand. So,
hmm
I mean,
hmm
that has a lot to do with, your company and the success that you all have had.
yeah.
So, like when I know people this year in particular, with all the stuff that's going on with the FDA and
hmm
this big question of what was going to happen a couple of weeks ago with the substantial equivalence, like how does that affect you all? Because I think sometimes we see smaller brands, and sometimes the assumption is, oh, this smaller brand's not going to be around because they're not preparing themselves for the future. They're just in
Yeah.
this to make money. So speak to that a little bit, because I know that that's not the case. Like
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
all are doing this, and you're doing this not for like short-term gains, but for a
No.
long-term
Yeah.
strategy. So
Oh
speak to
yeah.
that a little bit for those people who have that question of
Yeah.
why should they invest in your brand? Is it going to be here in a
Yeah.
couple months, in a year, 10 years from now?
Yeah. I get that question all the time, and that's why we strategically went with El Tito de Bronze and Aganorsa Leaf, because they have a long history of rolling cigars and being in business. So when you have older factories like that backing you, then they can help you get through a substantive equivalence or any other legal type of thing to do with the cigars. But it really helped us out a lot when they got rid of that whole September 9th deadline anyway. So all they did was take the handcuffs off me to release some more blends. So because I have actually another blend coming through Aganorsa, hopefully in the next couple of months. So, but yeah, the factories back us up, because we're a subsidiary of them. So so they look out for us, and they trying to make sure we win, because they want me to keep on ordering cigars from them.
Right.
So,
And I think that's a
hmm
good selling point, is that, like you said, you're working with these well-known factories who are responsible for a wide variety of brands in the market. So, the
hmm
fact that you're working with these brands, this means that you're right up there alongside of them. You're just as good as the brands that they put out. And I don't think a lot of people get that. So if they like I said, the stuff out of that factory, then they should like, or at least give your brand a try too.
Yeah. Like Terrence posts for us all the time. El Titan posts for us too. You know, because they're trying to help us. We're one big family, so everybody's trying to help each other win. So you know, so it's definitely a good working relationship that I have with both factories.
Now, if you had the chance to collaborate with anybody beyond the factory level, so an individual, like who would you choose to collaborate with, and what kind of cigar would you hope to come out with?
Ultimately, I would like to come out of Nica Sueño, Romacraft. So I've sat and talked with Skip, and Skip is giving me advice too. Skip and Mike, they're real cool. This before I even had the sticks. I ran into them at one of their events in Indiana, and he said Skip sat and talked with me a long time about tobacco, about the business, you know. So that's how me and Skip became cool. And then he's a big hip hop head too, so we talked a lot about music. So ultimately, if I could get something out of Nica Sueño, that would be super dope. You know, a Black Star Line Romacraft cigar. So yeah, I mean, it'll probably be something in my wheelhouse, like a full body, full strength cigar. You know, not sure what wrapper binder and filler, because I hadn't even made it that far. I still got to chip away and Skip to get him to do it. So, but my way of doing that is I'm gonna keep on being more successful, and it'll be to the point he won't be able to deny me. He'll want to do a cigar with us. So. Do
you have a preference for any for tobacco from a particular region or different country?
I am a big fan of Nicaraguan tobacco. I've grown to the point I kind of don't like all Dominican cigars. They don't really have that oomph that I like, or the spices and stuff. I mean, some of the Dominican ones are good, but if it's an all Dominican cigar, it just doesn't hit me, you know. Right. So I lean towards Nicaraguan tobacco. My favorite wrapper of all time is Mexican San Andreas. I just love San Andreas wrappers. Matter of fact, the cigar, the new cigar from Aganorsa does have a San Andreas wrapper on it. So, and I was playing around with some Condega in the filler. So it's a very good cigar. I'm actually doing that for I'm not gonna say his name yet, but we're doing that for a retired NBA player. So he's partnering with us to put that out. So that's when that one drops and I announce who it is, that's gonna be hot, you know. Mm-hmm. So my only complaint about it is it's a 6x60, and that's what he wanted.
Right.
Because I don't smoke big ring gauges. If it's over a Toro, I'm kind of like, you know. But for the size, is very good. So I'm very curious on how that blend is going to perform when I do a smaller size of it, a Robusto, a Toro, or Corona. You know, because it's a phenomenal blend in the big ring gauge.
Now, in terms of availability, like, have you been able to get across the country with your cigar, or are you more regional?
We're in 24 different lounges nationwide. Online shops that sell us, Privada Club carries us, Sir Louis carries us, Cigar Federation had us, they're sold out. So yeah, I mean, for us to be such a small operation and everybody that works for me has full-time jobs, we've made pretty good headway, because we've only been in business a year. So we've made good headway, you know, for a year, and the fact that people have full-time jobs and you know, and families and stuff. So
yeah, I guess that is a challenge with any business. You know, this isn't really I don't see this as a side hustle, because this is more of like a full-time job. So it's almost like you and everybody else at Black Star having to balance.
Yeah.
You know, a full-time job of creating a cigar brand, and then a full-time job of whatever your other profession, you know, is. So it's like, how do you find that balance? How do you keep yourself from going crazy and your family being, you're not spending enough time with us and all this other stuff? Because that does happen.
Yeah. And that's why I'm thankful. You know, COVID is definitely a terrible situation, but it also afforded me a lot of time to just be at home, instead of being on the road or doing an event in New Orleans or something. So it gives me a lot more time to be at home. 'Cause like I said, my daughter is 6, so she's a big time daddy's girl. So she's when I'm at home, she's all over me. So I'm sure she appreciates this time with me as well. Because even when I'm at the firehouse, I'm gone for 24 hours.
Right.
So because I do 1 day on and I do 2 days off. So, but it's the best job in the world because I only work 85 days a year.
What have you learned about yourself since you started Black Star Line Cigars?
I learned that all my experience in sales, because I had a bunch of sales jobs all through the years, I learned that all that experience that I have is pouring over into the business because people love dealing with us, whether it's just talking to us at events, the customer service that they get, because people love the fact that they can get their order, even though they're ordering online, they get it fast. So I ship to UPS, and if you catch me before, because I go to UPS store once a day, if you order that day and you catch me before I go to UPS store, your order is going out that same day that you ordered.
That's
So
good.
yeah, a lot of times, because my thing is, if I take pride on getting the order out within 24 hours. And then if UPS is on time, you'll typically have your order within 2 days. And then, I ship it with both of the packs. So they come humidified and everything. And I bulletproof the package because I stole that formula from Small Batch because I order a lot of stuff from Small Batch.
Mm-hmm.
So I looked at the way that they package their cigars. They wrap them in bubble wrap and then wrap it in plastic. And it's bulletproof. So I do the same thing. So the cigars don't come damaged. They come fresh. They come fast. And then they're good. So everybody's happy.
In terms of, you talked about your social media a little bit earlier. So I take it that that's a big part of how you've been able to kind of get your messaging out there.
Yeah.
But I know there's a lot of cigar companies though that don't know how to use social media properly, that they get kind of timid. So what have you learned about social media and getting the best out of it for your company?
Well, the social media helps me to reach a lot of people that I won't be able to interact with. And one of the guys that really talked to me about that was Jonas from Blackbird, because I'm friends with him too. And he told me, he was like, hey man, like the way I did my social media and the way his following expanded fast, because he hasn't been in business that long either, maybe 3 years or something like that. So, and I think he has like 12,000 followers, for Blackbird. And he was like, man, the social media is key, and putting up the posts and letting people know what's going on with the brand and, creative posts and just to get people looking at it and talking about it and sharing it, and that's the way we keep moving. So, but yeah, social media, in particular Instagram, Facebook helps as well. But more so Instagram because I reach a lot of people when I post stuff. So
yeah, and I found that too. I mean, Facebook is like I'm on there briefly, and then I jump off and go to Instagram to spend 5 or 10 minutes at a time throughout the day, like 16 times in a day.
Yeah,
just scrolling through, liking stuff, responding to people.
Yeah,
and I was having a conversation last week when I was doing deep cuts about how you can actually get so much business done through Instagram now with direct messaging, and sometimes somebody who's like very elusive in text and phone calls, you can get them to respond to an Instagram DM in like a couple of hours. So it's a tool that not a lot of people know though how to use. They think it's just about posting random pictures and they don't get the value of it. So it's good that you've learned how to leverage that for your business.
Yeah, I mean, perfect example of that is when you did the IG Live with Dave Ember from cigarclub.com. I never even heard of cigarclub.com. And I saw you were doing a live with him. So once again, something told me, hey man, jump on that IG Live. And sure enough, me and Dave talked on Monday, about him carrying us. So
that's great.
Yeah, so man. I mean, I find if I'm always looking and trying to network and watching other people's pages and seeing what they're doing, I always fall into something positive. and I don't know if it's luck. I don't know if it's just my ancestors looking out for me, you know. But it's something that's helping us to keep pushing along and get that name out there. So, hmm
And speaking of the name, I don't know if everybody knows like the origin of where the name for the company came from. So if
hmm
you could just tell us that a little bit about
yeah,
how the Black Star name came to
yeah, yeah,
be.
yeah. Oh, so Mike from Roma Craft hopped on. What's up, Mike? Uh, yeah, Black Star Line is actually Marcus Garvey's shipping company. So that's why I like Marcus Garvey a lot. So that's why I chose to pick that name for the company. So he originally wanted, his idea was to ship goods from America to Africa. So, but it turns out that he never actually made it to Africa as far as shipping because the ships that he was buying, they weren't in a condition to be able to travel all the way from America to Africa. So he did a lot of shipping in the islands. And the history behind the name of Black Star from Marcus Garvey is that's a spinoff of the White Star Line, which is the company that actually made the Titanic. So everything that has with Black Star means something, you know. Like I said, with El Milagro, I named the first two sticks El Milagro because, like I said, it means the miracle, and because we felt it was a miracle that we got the sticks through El Tiden, you know. And I already told you about Warwick, so that's that name. The symbol, the logo for Black Star Line is an African symbol. So everything, like I said, has something to do with either history or some kind of movie, an African movie. Even the hashtag CAADOP is our official hashtag, and that stands for Cigars Are a Daily Operation. And we named it that. Me and Derek and I were talking, and we're both hip hop fans. And Daily Operation from Gangstar is one of our favorite Gangstar albums. So we were like, that'd be a good play on that, you know, to pay some respect to Guru, rest in peace. To have our slogan as Cigars Are a Daily Operation. So,
So that kind of speaks to the importance of having a brand that actually has a story behind it.
yeah,
Because it makes it more authentic.
yeah. Yep. So yeah, I mean, even alternate meaning of the name is for Black Star is Most Def and Talib Kweli. The name of their group is Black Star, and that's one of my favorite hip hop duos. So there's a, you know, like I said, we try to make sure that everything we put out has some kind of meaning behind it because it's something to talk about.
Now, in terms of, like you said, substantial equivalence is delayed, I guess is the best legal way of putting it.
Mm-hmm.
Not completely out of the picture, but at least for
Right.
the foreseeable future,
Right.
it's not playing into business right now. So like with this extra time, what do you see yourself doing with the brand now that you have more time to, like I said, expand and do some more interesting things in terms of releases?
Yeah. Well, like I said, I have a blend that's ready to go. Just need to work out the legalities with my MBA guy. So that one's coming out, and then I have a couple of factories that I'll tell people down the line that have approached us and said that they want to work with us. You know, so I'm focusing on getting out some more good blends for, you know, more stuff for people to enjoy. Mm-hmm.
Where do you see the brand and yourself in like 5 years, 10 years? What's your long-term plan and strategy?
5 to 10 years. I'm hoping we can, you know, be $1 million company. You know, because we got all the backing, we got all the formula to be able to grow that big. You know, and to sales wise, and just make Black Star Line like a household name. You know, and really get that brand out there. Because that's why I did the swag too, because I know a lot of people that don't smoke that want to support us. So if they don't buy cigars, then they'll buy shirts, they'll buy the glasses or whatever else that I'm putting out because they want to support and help promote the brand as well. So yeah, we're just trying to, you know, try to get as big as we possibly can handle, and you know, keep pumping out quality product and keep working with good factories, you know.
And I think it's cool, like you said, about the merchandise and the swag, because a lot of brands don't do that, especially in the cigar space. You have to go to a special event sometimes just to and buy like 2 boxes that are like $200 each just to kind of get in the running for a T-shirt that costs what $20 if they have to print. So the fact that you kind of have this, you made that available right now, I think, like you said, will help because not everybody smokes cigars, but they might want to support your business.
Right. Yeah, it definitely helps, you know, because like the stuff, like I have a new flask coming, I have a new glass coming, and they're really dope. I actually can't wait to get them so I can post them. So when people see those, they're gonna, because the ones I have now, they're Glencairn glasses, and those are dope too. So you know, the swag definitely helps to push the brand as well because people see the different things, and then one, like I said before, they start asking, what is Black Star Line Cigars? And then that translates to them going to the Instagram page, the website, and then they're trying to find where they can get it. So.
And earlier you touched on you have a background in sales.
Yeah.
So what did you learn about sales that you've been able to really use here to get to convince retailers at least to kind of carry your product? Because I know that they are kind of like the guardians and the gatekeepers for a lot of brands. You have to convince the retailers to carry the brand, and then you kind of start from there, and then it trickles down to the consumer.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to the persistence, you know, and not giving up and following up with the lounges. Because I've had lounges that, you know, they smoked it and I didn't really hear anything, but I kept following up. And then it may be a month and a half later, and they just hit me with a random email like, "Hey, we want to order 6 boxes," you know. So that's with my past sales experience. I was whatever I was selling, I was always tenacious about it, and I was always a go-getter and able to, because I did business to business sales, like walking on the concrete. You know, walking on the sidewalk and going business to business trying to sell things. I've had a business where I sold cologne on the streets, you know, like just really hustling. So that's what the sales really taught me over the years, is to make sure you keep hustling, keep grinding, and you'll get where you need to be. I also have an MBA in finance too, so and an MBA in public health. So the education is where it's in conjunction with you know, sales experience. You know, it really helps out.
I saw earlier we had Rabbit Hole, who's a whiskey brand,
I
on
saw.
watching, which was really cool. So when you think about like expanding and collaborating with people outside of cigars, like have you had much experience doing that yet? Have you had the opportunity to collaborate with people like Rabbit Hole or maybe some local spirit brands?
Yeah, no, I haven't. I've had Rabbit Hole before. I can't remember which expression I had. It was good though. But the thing is, I'm not really a bourbon guy. I'm a Scotch guy. So a lot of the pairings I've done, like the pairing for my Mexican San Andreas is Bruichladdich PC10. The pairing for the Sun-Grown Habano is Bruichladdich Classic Lottie. And then the pairing for Warwich right now, until somebody can find something better, is Four Roses Single Barrel. So I'm pretty good about pairing things. I have to pick up a couple more bottles of Rabbit Hole and see what pairs good with my cigars, you know, so I can, you know, try to promote that as well. But yet, no, I haven't been approached about any collaboration with liquor. Now there is a potential, not a potential, it's just when I get Warwich back in stock, there's a collaboration between us and Dark Matter Coffee from here in Chicago. There's going to be a Warwich coffee coming.
Wow.
That it pairs really well with the cigar. So that would be the only one right now of a kind of bigger company, because they're pretty well known here in Chicago, that we're working on. You know, they already sent us the samples, and they're just waiting on me, because Warwich is sold out right now, and I'm waiting for Aganorsa to send me the new batch.
Well, I think that's I always ask that because you see a lot of brands like Davidoff, for example, grow when they collaborate outside of just the cigar world.
Yeah.
You know, they do the food pairings, they do the drinks, they do the accessories. So
yeah,
I was just curious, since you seem to be so on top of things, more so than a lot of people I talk to,
Yeah.
that I was curious to see where you're going with, like I said, collaborating with some outside of cigar brands just to kind of grow that Black Star name and prominence.
Well, there's a potential partnership with a chocolate company. They want to make a Woolwich chocolate, and chocolates to pair with the El Milagro too. So that's a potential one, but we're in the infant stages of that. So, but
I
Dark
think it's good
Matter,
that
that one's
at least
there.
you're working with these different brands and outside of just cigars, so that if anything happens, at least the Black Star brand can continue on in some way. Which is always a good idea, because you see so many people get tunnel vision and focus just on one category, and then something happens, and then they're it's like, where do we start now? Where do we go from here?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I said, we're always working, and we're always looking for different creative ways or different avenues to push the brand. So, we got the partnership with the NBA player, so that'll be a segue for us into NBA players smoking our sticks, and coffee, chocolate, and if there's a liquor company that is looking to work with us, we're definitely open to it. So
I think it's cool. Like I said, your story is so interesting, and I'm glad that I know. Like I said, I saw people talking about Black Star Line a couple months ago, and I was like, who are they? And I started following you all, and so I really wanted to kind of like dive in and really get to know more about the person behind the brand, and how you got from, like you said, from a very short time, from nothing to being a pretty big deal. You see everybody talking about you. I saw Terrence the other day post something about your company on Facebook. So I think you just had a story in Cigar Press.
Cigar Press.
Thor and Lisa, I saw they picked up on you, so they're always in the forefront of a lot of the boutique people too. So when I saw that, I was like, I got to jump in on this. I was like, this is somebody who's like really getting out there and going somewhere.
Cigar Press, it goes out to 1,700 lounges, and it goes to Cigars for Warriors, so it goes overseas as well. So Thor and I had a great time shooting the pictures for the magazine, and then the interview, and then we ended up becoming friends. It turns out Thor and I actually grew up in neighboring suburbs here in Chicago.
Wow.
So so it's a really small world. He's a little bit younger than me, but I'm very familiar with the high school he went to, and some of the people that went to school with him. I know them personally, so me and him clicked from Jump Street. And he said when he smoked the sticks, he was like, man, he was like, I would love to have y'all in the magazine. He was like, actually, it's an honor. So so that's us being a Cigar Press, that really, really helped us out, because it's a lot of advertisement.
Yeah, and I like Thor because he's pretty laid back, and Lisa, the character. Every year when we go to Pro Cigar, all of us media people usually hang out together. So it's usually we're all hanging out, me and Thor and Lisa and the guys from Cigar Snob. So we're all like one big group. So it's always interesting to see who everybody's interviewing and stuff. But I'm glad to see like the media's giving you attention, because I know sometimes it can get hard for smaller brands to get the same amount of attention as somebody higher. And you see a lot of sometimes coverage decisions is based on advertising. So has that been the case for you? Have you struggled to get through to some media?
Yes and no. I mean, we've been reviewed by several different companies. Stogie Press reviewed all 3 of our cigars. Ira Bustos, Cut Light and Smoke, Noah, he's reviewed them. But like I said, our big break as far as like a magazine or something in print is Cigar Press, But I've been on several podcasts. I think it's Cigar Table Talk out of I think they're in Dallas. So I've been on their show, and Cigar Pulpit. And, I've been on a lot of different podcasts and talk. So all of that, everything that we're doing, all plays into how we're growing so fast. Because like I said, I'm always working on this brand to the, you know, depending on what time of the day you talk to me. If it gets later in the day, like I almost don't even want to talk about cigars anymore because I talked about it
Right.
so much throughout the day. So, but yeah, but I've reached out to Aric from Cigar Snob, and he I think he was waiting for us to get a little bit bigger because when I reached out to him, it was early on in the game. So I have to circle back uh, and follow up with him and see, you know, what he thinks now because it's definitely a different game now. So
Definitely. Like I said, you're in the big leagues, really.
mm,
So it's fun to kind of watch
yeah,
younger brands, you know, get in there and compete with the bigger brands with just good
mm,
cigars.
yeah, yeah. Yeah. Y'all see Cigar Royalty was saying Cigar Table Talks in New York. Yeah, they are, but it's a different podcast called Cigar Talk or something like that. They're out of Dallas somewhere. So, but yeah, but like I said, I'm always working on something, and because it's just a constant grind of expanding the brand. And I know all the seeds that I've planted, they you know the trees are growing. So.
And I
Hmm.
imagine that COVID, as you talked on a little bit earlier, kind of maybe gave you a little bit more time
Hmm.
to really be able to work on this, whereas you might have been pulled different directions, traveling and
Yeah.
stuff. So how has COVID kind of changed how you've been marketing and branding and doing your business?
The website took off. You know, before COVID, more so of our sales were more in person, whether it's at events or at lounges. But when COVID came, that's the website became another person for me. And you know, everybody started hitting that website. You know, and then like I said, the experience that people get from the customer service, you know, is they're impressed by it, especially if you're like in a neighboring state of Illinois or in Illinois, you'll get your order within a day, you know, from UPS. So it's just everybody's just really pleased about the customer service. And that's one thing I wanted to take pride on and make sure that I thrived at and really excelled at because there's a lot of businesses that don't have good customer service. And that even if your product is good, if the customer service is bad, then you know it's a stain at your brand. So that's a stain I did not want to experience at all. So I try to make sure that the service is very, very consistent.
So as we draw towards the end of this interview, I want to make sure we get in all the different plugs with plenty enough time for Black Star. So tell people where they can go. I know your whole team has been in the comments the whole time
Yeah.
hyping it up, but for those who are watching this in playback mode, they won't see that. So
Right.
tell us how we can learn, what websites to go to, what social media to follow to kind of get more information about
Okay.
Black Star.
www.bslcigars.net is our website. If you want to order directly from me, that's the website to go to. On the website, there is a retailer page on there, so it lists everywhere where we're carried. So if you have a question about what states we're in, everybody that carries us is on there. If you're looking for Warwich, because some people still have Warwich, Camera Avenue has Warwich. Sir Lewis has Warwich. G Spot in Memphis has Warwich. Eduardo Limon and Casa de Puros here in Chicago, they have Warwich. So you have to reach out to them and see if they're willing to ship it to you or not. Because I'm not sure if they ship to everybody. Smoke Ring in Houston has Warwich as well. So I'm not sure if they ship or not either, but they do have it because that's one of the main ones that people are looking for because I don't have it. I only have my personal collection of Warwich, which I'm not selling. So, yeah, but in October 10th in Fort Worth at Underground, I am releasing a special size of Warwich. It's a Lancetto. So
Wow.
I only did a 500 count run for that, so it's going to sell fast as hell. So if you want that stick, you better either hit the Facebook group for Underground Cigars or or call down there and try to get it. However you can get it, try to get it because it's not going to last long. Because I'm actually going to be at the lounge when they arrive at the lounge on October 10th. So that Lancetto, I saw a picture of it, and it was beautiful. So,
And what's your Instagram page for those who want to follow you all?
Black Star Line Cigars is our Instagram page, and it's the same thing on Facebook. And we don't have a Twitter account.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much on Twitter right now. I'll just keep it at that.
Yeah, it's just Black Star Line Cigars. Yeah, that's how you find me. And I respond to all DMs, emails. You know, some people call me. You know, so I'm easily accessible. So.
Well, that's great. Like I said, thank you so much for taking the
thanks
time
for
out
having me.
today to talk about your brand. I know at this point, you probably are like most cigar manufacturers. You probably have spoken about your brand more than you care to. You probably know the story. You could it's recited in your sleep. So I appreciate you kind of taking us through the whole steps of how you created your business and got it going, and about Warwich and all these other brands that you cigar lines that you have. So I know I enjoyed listening to it. So I hope everybody who joined us had fun listening to it as well. I know that, like I said, we're working on a story for tobacco business, so that will be in our November-December issue, which comes out in the first week in November. So we're looking forward to running that story and keeping on working with you all to update people with whatever news comes out of Black Star Line.
Yeah. Like I said, man, I appreciate your platform. It's an honor to be here talking to you. So I appreciate it, man.
Oh, thank you. Well, like I said, we'll have a great day, and
you too.
Until our next encounter, I look forward to following you all on Instagram and seeing what new stuff you come out with.
Definitely. All right, take care, brother.
Thank you.
Yeah.